welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studios. Thanks for watching us. We appreciate it. We got lights up here. Looks good in here. Can't beat it. The new studio's shaping and getting into shape here just like we are this year. Lots of sports to talk to you about. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. I got Chip Hayner with me and Smoking Jim Frazier. The crew's all here this week. And we got plenty to talk about, don't you worry. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Thanks also watching us for Verizon in Bethel Park and everywhere else from Nemacolin to Cranberry and Wexford. And thanks on Facebook. We hit a brand new high, 6,620 likes. So thank you very much for that. We appreciate you watching our shows and then giving us a like. I just posted up boxing from the 27th of January at the Sokol Club. Posted that on our page, and a couple people are watching that now, so a lot of great fights there. Check it out. Can't go wrong. Our What's on Your Mind is sponsored by Skeets Lewandowski of Skeets Service Station. Right down in Finleyville. You can call him at 724-348-4715. Anything that runs on gas, he can fix it. Don't worry. I just had an oil change there yesterday. Had the buffet at Skeets Service Station. We talked about Wentz, Smoking Jim coming out the Skeets.
I got to come out.
He just won't do it. But I was there yesterday, so had a good day talking to his dad, Butch, and he's working on cars at 70-some years old. Skeets is working on cars. Can't go wrong. Nice place. Well, I got some promos here to start the show off with. First of all, the sponsor of our show tonight is Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 412-831-1900. You could hear Smoking Jim chomping there. It's a good pizza.
He's feeding that tapeworm.
Right at Hillcrest Shopping Center. Give them a call, 412-831-1900. We end each show with Stay Joey Strong. This is in honor of Joey Favis and the Childhood Cancer Foundation. It's a 501c3. They have lots of opportunities to donate, activities, different events. Check them out. It's just a shame when you get diagnosed with this DIPG, you get less than a year to live, and it affects all these kids. It's just terrible. Another promotion is the Bethel Park Historical Society's Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. You got to check it out. Go up there, see Bill Haberther, who runs the place. He's a wealth of information. He's like Chip with his trivia time. He knows all the facts about the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. Donate money to them. They're a 501c3 that do a lot of good things in our community. Next, if you need money for your group or organization, $100 to $5,000, contact bpcf.org. That's Bethel Park Community Foundation. They have money for you and your group in Bethel Park. Again, that's bpcf.org. Check them out. Now, we're always looking for volunteers in the studio. Somehow Dave transposed my face on the Uncle Sam. Looks pretty good there. I want you for BPTV. 412-831-3304. We got Devin Shea and we got Steve, the Rookie of the Year, called by Smoking Jim Frazier on the cameras in the control room. They're doing a heck of a job to make us look good and sound good. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Maybe you could be a volunteer here for the over 500 shows that they do each year for Dave Cable. Check it out, 412-831-3304. All right, enough of my talking. Let's get down to What's on Your Mind, Smoking Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
here it comes.
You got to see
What
Levine.
I was going to pull Malcolm Butler on it, but I forgot about his sidelines.
What a throw that was.
Well, I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. I had to stop off at the grocery store and get all
a bucket of chicken.
I had to get my bread and milk.
What about TP? You need some TP.
What's
You had to go there.
Toilet paper.
Toilet paper. Which do you need that for bad weather too?
What happens when you're stuck in the bathroom without any TP?
There you go. But I want to welcome everybody on the listening network to Happy Black History Month. And maybe for the month I should sit in the middle. That way we'll be integrated. But what's on my mind is...
Oh, you can switch seats right now.
What's on my mind is, you know, when I have a point that I want to make, sometimes I'll continue to harp on it until everybody sees it. And I think a picture's worth 1,000 words. The Super Bowl proved what I've been trying to say.
How?
For a long time is that...
You said bet New England.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks.
I lost a lot of money
Sorry,
on that.
folks. All who gambled and bet with Smoking Jim Frazier, it's not the first time that he steered you wrong. He's a true professional gambler. He pays his debts. They're chasing him right now. Somebody was scratching on the window there.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Making a signal.
I'm
So
glad
we covered that up.
With the whiteboard.
Yes, he'll make it back on the
We
Warriors.
put the whiteboard here in Black History Month.
Yeah, right.
He'll make it back on the Warriors.
But yeah, that's true. But what I've been saying all along is that I think next year the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to average 38 points a game. I think they're going to break the 2013 Denver Broncos record. I think that the 2018 Pittsburgh Steelers will go down in history as the greatest offense of all time. And that just proved in the Super Bowl the way the game is going, Chip and Al Levine, the talking machine. 1,100 yards of offense between the two teams.
1151.
Yeah, and whoever has the ball last has a great opportunity to win the game. So defensively, instead of sinking all your money in the defense, they can't stop anybody anyway. It really comes down to turnovers. Who wins the turnover battle? Philadelphia won that by getting Brady to turn it over late in the game. He definitely would have scored then. And you got to get a couple opportunistic players. I would get a free safety that can play center field and pick off some balls and knock some balls away from you. And I would try to get a dominant, even though the Pittsburgh Steelers led the National Football League in sacks.
Yeah.
They really don't have a guy that you can lay your hat on right now as a sack master. So I would go after a guy, whoever it may be, whatever position.
Why don't they turn T.J. Watt loose?
Well, T.J. Watt
instead of just having him drop back.
Well, T.J. Watt's a great player, and he does that. Greg Lloyd used to play middle linebacker in passing situations because of their ability to cover, and you don't want to take that away. Lawrence Taylor and those guys were great sack guys, but they couldn't cover. T.J. Watt's a great athlete. I'd even play him a little bit tight end around the goal line, make him a true Mark Vrabel. But that's what's on my mind.
Thank you, Smoking Jim. Very informative. And welcome aboard to Black History Month.
Thank you, sir.
We'll hear more, I'm sure. All right, Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
Now, several things before I get on to really what's on my mind. But if one thing was proven about this year's NFL playoffs, offense wins championships. Yes, the number one defense got 42 points hung on them by the Steelers in a winning thing, and the Patriots moved the ball against them in the second half at will. And, so pretty much professional football is turning into college football. We're going to start seeing football games with basketball scores, but that's what people want to see. So there's that. Thank goodness for the NFL and Roger Goodell. They finally evened the playing field. The Philadelphia Eagles only had to beat the New England Patriots this past Sunday. They didn't have to beat the referees as well. So when no flags are thrown, no penalties are called, no plays are overturned, isn't it funny how the outcome changes for the New England Patriots? So congratulations to the NFL. Now, to get to what's on my mind, where is the outrage? You guys have no idea what I'm talking about.
I'm not outraged. I'm happy.
You know who Mark Emmert is? Mark Emmert, the head of the NCAA. Where are you now? Okay, what I'm referring to is a case in the University of Michigan State.
Wow.
Larry Nasser, who was their physician
Doctor.
from there, and he was the doctor for the U.S. women's gymnastics team. He's going to spend the next 470 years in prison for abusing children. What else is disturbing is that his home base was at Michigan State University, and there has been a culture of covering up sexual assaults at the university, so much so that the president of the university has resigned. The athletic director of the university has resigned, okay? Now, you've got a head football coach, Mark D'Antonio, and Tom Izzo, over the last 7 or 8 years have had 16 separate incidents of sexual assault that were not punished, that were somehow investigated and nothing further happened with them. So this is what my point is. Penn State University in 2011, everybody wanted to drop the death penalty on them because of Jerry Sandusky. Where is the outrage? Mark D'Antonio, the head coach of the football team, you need to be terminated very quickly. Tom Izzo, another Hall of Fame coach, you need to be made an example of, and Michigan State needs to have the same sanctions placed against them that Penn State did. Don't you think that's fair? Look at the charges against them and the implications that go with it. And, you know, Penn State really had nothing to do with what Jerry Sandusky did, but yet that university was punished. So where is the outrage? I am beyond words at this point. But that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Chip. That is outrageous. But Emmerich has a history from where he came from of doing the same thing.
Yeah. Really? They need, you know.
So, I mean, there's a culture.
What's fair is fair. Yeah, well, I mean, you know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
But in this case, you got a guy in charge that has done many of the same things and been accused of that over the years. So
it's a different environment in 2018 than it was even back in 2011. So
I agree, and I give a lot of the women credit for coming forth.
Absolutely.
To do that, and it's just horrific that something could go on that long.
No, so, you know, action needs to be taken.
I couldn't agree with you anymore. Definitely.
I'm off my pedestal.
Okay, thanks, Chip. Appreciate it. What's on my mind is, how does a quarterback who got signed with somebody a couple years before and failed come back and become MVP? Nick Foles, how do you play like he did? My hat goes off to him, and he gave a great little speech about the end. It's what you do after failure, because he sounded like me. I always go to people, I see a lot of success, but I admire people that come back from adversity. And I sincerely believe that. He stated it, just great couple statements there. Had his little child there with him and wife. It was just a great moment in NFL history to see a guy overcome. Look, Chris Wentz, the franchise quarterback, got hurt. Everybody said, forget about Philadelphia. Well, Nick Foles will be signing some big money contract, but how many games is he going to be playing for Philadelphia next year? You know, maybe half a season.
Well, to speak to that point, Wentz is under contract with Philadelphia for 4 more years. He can't opt out at the end of next year. Nick Foles is not going to go anywhere. Carson Wentz had major knee surgery. How soon is he going to come back from it? He's a nice insurance policy.
Well, that's why I'm saying at least 6 games, maybe more, maybe half a season he'll be in there.
Really?
Well,
wow.
Do the math on rehab. And then coming back, what kind of condition are you going to be in?
Wow. You know, and you know, you were talking about how somebody faces adversity. You know, one of Jim's favorite boxers always said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
Well, he got punched in the mouth, and he somehow figured out a plan. And you know what? It just speaks to...
How about first quarterback ever to catch a TD pass in the Super Bowl?
You know,
first ever. You know, and your man Brady dropped the ball.
You look at he came close to catching it, though.
But his one hand was still taped up.
Yeah, well, he jumped about 5 minutes too early for that.
Well, that's what's on my mind. We're going to be back with some fiction and fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac. I can't wait.
Hey, thanks Al Levine, the Talking Machine, and Chip. Thanks Rookie of the Year and Devin Shea. And I tell you what, in honor of Black History Month, I think I'm gonna talk briefly about somebody that made a great impact in this community. And not Dr. Martin Luther King, but
What community?
James Harrison. And it may have been his last game. I think he's coming back for a year. A lot of people didn't think he played well in the Super Bowl. I thought he had a great game. But because it may be his last game, and because he goes in the weight room every morning at 5 a.m., even when he was in New England, in a dedication, I'm going to rank the top 5 or 6 linebackers in Pittsburgh Steelers history, outside linebackers.
How does this tie into Black history?
Well, because James Harrison is black.
But he doesn't help anybody else.
Did anybody tell him?
Yeah.
He doesn't help anybody else. He doesn't even have a guy spotting him.
Well, the one thing I like about him
He
is he's
doesn't have a
honest.
spotter.
They interviewed him.
It's just about him.
They interviewed him the week of the Super Bowl. He's 14th in far as brothers and sisters. He's the baby of 14 brothers and sisters, and they says, "Man, how many?" He says, "You're probably buying all kind of tickets. How many you got coming? Family members."
I heard that.
He says, "If they pay for them, they can come." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" He says, "If they pay for them, they can come." He says, "I established that my rookie year." He said, "I don't pay for hotels and air flights and tickets.
Well,
if they pay for them, they can come."
He showed throughout his career in Pittsburgh, a great player, great one-dimensional sacker.
Yeah.
But he never had it helped anybody else to overachieve. He just showed what he does. Now, I don't take it as really helping anybody.
But you know what probably James is going to be able to do is when he walks away from the NFL, is he's not going to have to worry about financial security because he didn't spend his money foolishly. You know, like there's a lot of, Terrell Owens blew $100 million buying limos and renting out concert
Most
halls.
of them, Allen Iverson, our friend.
Yeah.
$300 million Mike Tyson went through before he filed bankruptcy.
Yeah.
But real quick, I don't want to slow anybody up, but
No. We're waiting for your point.
a guy that I feel should be in the Hall of Fame, Andy Russell. I got him right around 5th or 6th, still an all-time great outside linebacker.
What color is he?
Andy Russell's white.
This is
He's a
Black
white
History
player.
Month.
And gray hair.
Did anybody tell him?
Yeah, that's it. I would say the 4th or 5th greatest outside linebacker in Pittsburgh Steelers history would have to be James Harrison. Next, for number 4, I would have to put Joey Porter in at number 4. Number 3 is tough. He didn't play that long, Mike Merriweather, so I'm not going to include him in there. But I would say number 3 would be Greg Lloyd. Number 2 was really hard to come up with. Kendrell Bell was a middle linebacker, didn't play that long, but outside linebacker number 2, you have to go with Jack Ham. And number 1 is T.J. Watt, greatest outside linebacker, in my opinion, that I've seen in the Steelers.
I never heard you say Lambert.
No, we're talking about
he's
outside
middle.
linebacker.
Yeah, just outside.
Outside linebacker.
Yeah, just outside. Lambert was middle.
I would arguably, I think Jack Ham is one of the best outside linebackers
I
I ever saw.
Greatest.
But that was before sacking was so much of a statistic. He always covered his man. Nobody ever got to the outside on him. He never missed a tackle.
Great interceptions.
You know, and I mean he covered what he was supposed to cover. He was always in the right place.
Great.
And Smoking Jim, I got to interrupt you.
Top 3 of all
I
time.
talked to a
definitely.
friend of mine today, a banker that knows sports inside and out, and we mentioned Jack Ham
Yeah.
because he met John Kolb. He played football for somebody, I forget who, and he was at Geneva College.
Oh.
So they had the different players coming around after their career, and I said, man, John Kolb had to be on steroids because how big was he? Strongest man in the league.
Yeah.
How big? And he goes, no, he said he wasn't on steroids. And I said, well, that's okay. But he explained how hard he worked. He goes, some guys work their muscles to get size, some go for strength. So he goes, I go, what about Jack Ham? I said, I met him. I'm about as tall as he
Right,
is,
right.
average
Right,
weight.
right,
You know,
yeah.
I'm like, how's this guy in the NFL? And Jack Lambert was like 220 at the
Yeah,
most.
at
I
the
met
most,
him.
right.
I'm like, how are these guys in there? He goes, I got a Jack Ham story for you.
Okay.
John Kolb's telling this story. All the guys that are weightlifters are all there. The linemen are all there. And they said Jack Ham used to always bust their chops and, you know, make comments.
Really?
And he come into the weight room one day and they're pumping. They did like a pyramid thing. They did like 300 pounds, then 250, then 200, then 150. And they had 350 on a bar. And somebody goes, you know, Ham made a smart remark and he goes, I can do that. They go, look at you. There's no way you can lift 350 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, I'll bet every one of you that I can do it. Just like that. He stunned him. So John Kolb's telling the story. He goes, Ham goes over there and pumped the 350. He goes,
Did he?
The guy forgot how many times he did it or whatever.
Wow.
But he did 350,
Wow.
being the size and as
Wow.
lean as he was.
That's amazing.
And that just goes to show you, like John Kolb said, a lot of guys train for strength, and you don't see the size that some of these other guys have.
Wow.
How about that for a Jack Ham story?
Man,
Fresh
I like
today.
that little
Fresh.
fiction and fact from
Fresh today.
Docker Machine.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
I was
That's good
shocked
stuff.
because I always said that's one of my heroes, Jack Ham, with how he played football and overcame
Yeah,
a lot.
when
One
they
of
used
the
to call- they
greatest
used to-
one of the. I got him in the top 3 all-time outside
They
linebackers.
said he was one of the
all
greatest
time.
technical football players because he knew
Just
the
his
game.
knowledge.
He knew the game so well, and he came out a linebacker.
And he's the second greatest Steeler outside linebacker of all time that I've seen him behind T.J. Watt. So,
Good stuff, Jim.
thank you, sir.
Good stuff.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. We appreciate it. Now we'll go to see what's next.
Okay, so Chip's trivia time, and Jim made mention of Black History Month. Well, because Jim made mention of it, I'm going to make mention of it, and I found out something that I found that was absolutely fascinating. I'm absolutely certain you had no idea of it. I'm fairly certain that you never heard of it because I hadn't heard about it prior to today. Teddy Ballgame. You know who Teddy Ballgame is?
Oh,
Ted
yeah.
Williams, one of the greatest hitters that ever played the game, arguably the best hitter that ever played
You
the
thought I
game,
didn't hear him.
and the last player to bat 400 for a season.
Sure.
Okay? So Teddy Ballgame makes a difference for Negro leaguers to enter the Hall of Fame. Were you aware of it? Okay. Ted Williams on his Hall of Fame induction speech.
I'm
Okay?
aware. Yeah, I had heard this.
Here's what he said on July 25th, 1966. This was in the midst of the Civil Rights Movement. Okay, the other day, Willie Mays hit his 522nd home run. He has gone past me, and he's pushing, and I say to him, go get him, Willie. Baseball gives every American boy a chance to excel, not just to be as good as anybody else, but to be better. This is the nature of man and the name of the game, and I hope someday Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson will be voted into the Hall of Fame as symbols of the great Negro players who were not here because they weren't given the chance.
Ted Williams said that?
Ted Williams
Yeah, I'm
said
aware
that.
of that.
Monty Irving, who's one of the greatest outfielders that ever played the game, played with Willie Mays, still vividly remembers his reaction to those words, spoken unexpectedly, uttered from a podium in Cooperstown, New York. With the entire world listening, he said, I was surprised I hadn't known that's how he felt, says Irving, a spry 82-year-old, 46 years after the end of his belated 8-season Major League career. But I was so happy that he did. What Williams said, and a lot of others were thinking, but he said it, and it paved the way and made it easier for a lot of Negro League players to get into the Hall of Fame. So that takes me to a list of the Negro League players that have made it into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame.
There's some good white people out there.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are. So here, I'll give you the player's name and the position that he went in for as a member of the Negro Leagues. Hank Aaron was a shortstop for the Indianapolis Clowns. Cool Papa Bell was a center fielder for the Homestead Grays. Oscar Charleston, a center fielder for the Pittsburgh Crawfords. Ray Dandridge, third base for the Newark Eagles. Leon Day, pitcher, second base, outfield for the Newark Eagles. Martin Dingo, for the New York Cubans. Larry Doby, who was the first African-American player to play in the American leagues for the Cleveland Indians, but he went in for the Newark Eagles as well. Bill Foster and Rube Foster, both for the Chicago American Giants. Josh Gibson as a catcher for the Homestead Grays. Monty Irving as a shortstop for the Newark Eagles. Judy Johnson, third base for the Homestead Grays. Buck Leonard, first base for the Homestead Grays. Judy Johnson played for the Hillsdale Daisies. Pop Lloyd, shortstop for the Chicago American Giants. Willie Mays played in the Negro Leagues. He was a center fielder for the Birmingham Black Barons. Satchel Paige for the Kansas City Monarchs, a pitcher. Jackie Robinson, who broke the color barrier in the National League and for all of Major Leagues, a shortstop for the Kansas City Monarchs. Bullet Rogan, a pitcher for the Monarchs. Hilton Smith, another pitcher for the Monarchs. Turkey Stearns, a center fielder for the Detroit Stars. Willie Wells for the St. Louis Stars, and Joe Williams, a pitcher for the New York Lincoln Giants. And I want to go through this, and I feel it's fairly important, and I'll take a few extra minutes if I may, but I'll try to do this as quickly apart.
I gave Smokin' Jim a Negro League baseball book years ago when we first met, and he only got to 19 pages.
Okay. So we did. Why did the Splendid Splinters say it? What prompted Williams, baseball's last 400 hitter, to devote 64 of an economical 527-word speech to a subject that was hardly a burning issue of the day? I don't think anyone at the time anticipated anything like that, says James Riley, a noted researcher of Negro League history and a prolific author on the subject. I've talked with Williams several times, and I've never got a true sense of why he felt that way and why he felt about it so deeply. It's unlikely that personal experience fueled the sentiment. Born and reared in San Diego, a precocious rookie star in Boston by 20, Williams had little personal exposure to the prejudices that had excluded black players, and he certainly wasn't venting pent-up frustration from years of playing with these delayed athletes. Not until the season before Williams retired in 1969 did the Red Sox become the last of the 16 major league teams with an African American. His name was Pumpsy Green.
Never heard of it.
Wow. I'm sure you haven't. I think Ted has a natural affinity for the underdog. He was prompted by that. Chances are Williams, ever the iconoclast, simply intensely wanted to stir it up, and to his credit, he used his forum for a noble cause worth storing. Williams was the first to say it, and for someone of his stature, so respected to the game, to take time out of his shining moment to recognize from his platform that there was a problem. It sheds light on him as a man, says Ray Doswell, curator of the National League, or the Negro League Baseball Museum in Kansas City. Did you know the museum was in Kansas City, Jim?
No.
Okay. When someone that respected speaks, people listen. What Williams said served as a message not only to the people who make decisions, but to fans as well. It definitely had a positive effect on getting Negro Leaguers into the Hall of Fame. And Bowie Kuhn, the manager, or the commissioner of baseball, on June 10th, 71, the Hall of Fame created a committee to select for annual induction players who had been at least 10-year veterans of the Negro Leagues and were ineligible for regular Hall selection. In order, the Negro League Committee enshrined Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson, Buck Leonard, Monty Irving, Cool Papa Bell, Judy Johnson, Oscar Charleston, Martin Dingo, and Pop Lloyd. The special committee was dissolved in 1977, and it went on to the Veterans Committee to elect the rest of the gentlemen into the Hall of Fame. The bit of history casting Ted Williams as somewhat of the Abe Lincoln of Negro Leaguers remains largely overlooked. His speech is part of our exhibit, says Doswell, the museum curator, and visitors always remark that they're surprised that he said that. It's an awakening for them. So I found that to be extremely fascinating.
Yeah.
That's my contribution to Black History Month. And I may delve into more of the individual players and some of their statistics as we go through the months to continue the celebration.
Thank you, Chip. Appreciate that.
Here, maybe you could keep this.
Welcome back to the On Location segment. We have an event book page for February 12th, next Monday. Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 930 Brookline Boulevard. We'll be there from 7:30 to 8:30. We got great guests lined up for the show. I can mention some of them. Billy Nardozzi, Natalie Sugars, singer, performer, friend of Smokin' Jim Frazier, who he hasn't seen in 7 years. I got a photo with her at the fashion show, a couple of them, so thanks, Smokin' Jim. Just talked to Jeffrey Park about you. He goes, hey, Al, can you ever get a hold of Smokin' Jim? Because I would have liked him to do what you did, because you mingled better than anybody at that event. He goes, people were talking about you and everything. You're the man. He goes, I wanted Smokin' Jim to do that. And I said, Jeff, it's funny. We had a conversation. Smokin' Jim said, hey, talking machine, if I knew it was going to be like that, I would have come out to the show. So I said to Jeffrey Park, I said, my man Smokin' Jim, most of you know him as one of the best smiles in the media, one of the busiest media guys. But he told me when I first met him within a month of the show that he had a split personality. And I go, my man, I could work with anybody. He goes, no, I'm serious. He goes, talking machine, I'm a mama's boy, and I stay at home a lot, watch plenty of games on TV, football. I watch at least one or two films a day on football. And he goes, I only go into my Smokin' Jim persona when I'm out in public where I'm loud and boisterous. And that's what you've seen here. So I had to share that. But On Location will be February 12th, Olive Oil's Pizzeria. February 19th, Jeffrey Park, owner of Hollywood Lanes, is posting an event page. We'll be there on the 19th with the Wildcats football team, champions 2 years in a row from down in Daytona Beach. They'll bring their trophies in. And I got another guest, the local Dormont kid that played for Pitt. Smokin' Jim might know of him, but I know his family well, know him from when he was a little child, playing with young Bruce Gratkowski in sports. His name is Joey Del Sardo.
Oh, yeah.
He's coming on to our show. He'll be there, and he grew up in Dormont.
Went to Thomas Jefferson, right?
No.
Oh, the other Del Sardo went there.
Yeah, he
was on the Keogh, Seaton South.
Yeah.
Across the street.
But Joey played for Pitt for years, was a good receiver there.
Yeah.
I worked with his younger brother, Ralph. He worked at the Post-Gazette with me and became friends, so he may stop down. Bruce Gratkowski, their uncle, who I grew up with, the old man, he may be at the show, so we'll see what happens with this. But he comes from a great sports family, the Del Sardos. His dad played baseball up into semi-pro leagues, and great athletes in the whole family, so they'll be out there. And I have a kid that had a heart transplant, this Joshua Crowe. His uncle is, I think his second cousin is actually Jack Mook of the boxing gym, Jack's Boxing Gym. So he's related to him. He had a heart transplant a year and a half ago. He's playing basketball. I didn't get for what school, but the kid, if you saw him, you wouldn't realize that he had a heart transplant. He just never gave up, said, I want to play ball, and I don't care what you do, but I'm playing ball. And the doctors went on board with him, said they never saw anybody act like that and get back to the basketball court and remain an athlete.
What school?
I don't know.
What's his name?
Joshua Crowe.
Crowe, wow.
Yeah, so he'll be on the show there. So we got the guests lined up, and that'll be on the 19th. So check out On Location. Got a little off subject, but it's fun to have some downtown Dormont guys and their families come on up. So we'll have a good time. See you at 7:30 to 8:30. Hollywood Lanes, back in business there. thanks for not changing that dial. Chief, I hope you're eating your dessert and enjoyed your dinner. And all the rest of you that are watching our show, we appreciate it. I know the Penguins are playing.
And the Vegas Knights are winning 1-0 in the first period.
I know,
Come on,
I heard
Pens.
that. And good luck to Fleury. I hope the Penguins win the game 2-1. No harm there. Well, we got some Penguin talk here. Penguins have been playing much better. They won 9 games in January. They're in second place. What a comeback from being out of the playoffs.
Well, you know what? As well as they have played, they're still only 4 or 5 points out of last place.
Well, it was 6
That's
points.
how
out of that.
that's how tight their division is. But to speak about something even more incredible, the Las Vegas Knights are the top team in the Western Conference right now. They're an expansion team, and they are playing lights-out hockey, and Marc-Andre Fleury is one of the big reasons why they are.
And they already have more wins than any other expansion team, right?
Yeah, that is correct. And they look like they have a team that may have some legs when they get to the playoffs.
They got a winner in goal.
They sure do, and it was such a shame that Marc-Andre had to leave Pittsburgh.
He
But
didn't have to.
yes, he did.
There's
If you
enough
look at
money
the
for
salary
both.
cap, Jim, it's an
Enough
economic
money.
thing. I know you don't deal with facts very often, but they had a salary cap issue. They couldn't afford to keep him and be able to get players for their third and
We
fourth
wouldn't
lines.
have won the cup without Fleury last year.
I
Or the
agree.
year before.
Sure.
Or in 2009.
Exactly. But, I mean, kudos to him. I'm glad he's doing well.
And they
I
going to win
heard
the game
some of-
tonight without him.
Some of his stats are great. Well, we'll see what happens, Smoking Jim, since you're a big hockey guy. We'll find that out later on when we get out of here. But
I'll
thanks
find
for
it out when
staying
I-
tuned to our show.
when I
You can
wake
go
up.
back and forth between watching the Penguins and Vegas there. I mean, what an event with a team in Vegas. Oakland Raiders will be in Vegas, what, in 2 years?
Wow, Gruden being there.
What do you think about the Gruden get? Well, we're talking about
That's
we're
all right.
talking about the Penguins, but the Penguins, Evgeny Malkin was the top-rated player in the NHL for the entire month of January.
Unbelievable.
And he was the #1 player for the first week of February as well. Evgeny Malkin is putting the puck in the net, and he is playing the way they're paying him as like a superstar. That's what the Penguins need. Their stars need to be stars right now. They are,
And same with Sidney Crosby.
and they're in a dogfight right now. They need every point they can get going down the stretch run here.
The other day I saw they were 4 points behind the Capitals, and they were 6 points from being out of last place.
Right.
So I mean, the Metro Division's the tightest division in all of hockey.
And and
Very competitive.
And the Penguins, they get every team's best game every night because they're the 2-time defending champions, and everybody. That's not a night that anybody takes off when they play the Penguins.
Good point.
I have to give credit to Sullivan, Mike Sullivan being their head coach. He's not afraid to yell at these players. He's not afraid to bring younger guys in and out. He's not afraid to go with a hot hand, even though he still has a #1 goalie of Murray. He put these rookie guys in there. I give him credit with just how he plays. An aggressive game, do the right thing, play hockey the way it's supposed to be played. He's been successful at it.
And more importantly, the players have bought into his system.
They all speak about it.
And that is the critical part, because if there's anything that happens in hockey more often than not, is that coaches in the NHL, they have about a 4 to maybe 5 year lifespan.
Yeah.
And then the players stop buying into their system, and so
I don't believe that.
But right now they're buying into it. Well, just look at history.
I don't believe
The
it.
facts are.
Smoking Jim, there's a shelf life of NHL coaches about 4.5 years. Just like running
no.
backs in the NFL,
I mean, it's
their
true.
life is 3 years.
They say that about the NFL too, and Belichick's still going strong. Chuck
That's
Nolan,
one.
23 years.
Well,
That's one
and
guy.
let me explain. But
George
that's professional.
George Hallis went about 50 years.
Well, here's
He owned the team.
Speaking of Bill Belichick, okay, this is just an interesting little fact that I picked up on. The
Fiction.
last time that Bill Belichick lost his offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator after a Super Bowl game, it took him 10 years to win another Super Bowl. Okay? He lost his offensive coordinator today. His defensive coordinator will be the head coach of the Lions.
He won't
Josh
get nothing.
McDaniels will now be the head coach of
Colts.
Andrew Luck.
Really?
Yes, he's going to be in Indianapolis. So, it's going to be up to, let's see how much of a genius Belichick is, or does he want to start from scratch all over again? Really interesting to see what happens in New England this year, winter, or spring and summer.
Well, we thought they were vulnerable. Obviously, they were, except for Smoke and Jim.
Apparently, there's something going on, and everything is not all happy. What were your thoughts about Malcolm Butler being benched for the Super Bowl and seeing the way that the Eagles' pass offense exploited that?
Well, they probably lost a football game by not playing Malcolm Butler. A lot of it was extended from he was sick, and then he went to a Rick Ross concert, and but you can't pass that up.
Who is Rick Ross?
And they say it was a little bit of weed involved, but
a little.
With NFL guy don't have a little bit of weed on them, but for them to let him know right before the national anthem, well, that's one way to get a guy to cry during the anthem. And then after the anthem, let the backup know that he was going to start. I thought that was unfair to the team. I mean, if you have team rules, I understand that. I'd have made him a healthy scratch, or I'd have played him in the Super Bowl and fined him afterwards. But I think you hurt your team. This is a guy that played 98% of the snaps this year.
Yes, he did.
He was your best defensive player, and you really needed him.
That first touchdown that Alshon Jeffrey caught was right over. That was Butler's man.
Yeah, it's good coverage by the other guy, but him and Butler in there together would have gave him a better opportunity than just him getting burnt.
Do you think Mike T might make a bid for him? He's a free agent.
Well, I think he would fit into Pittsburgh's. There's a need there for the Steelers to have a guy like that, but whether or not they can pay him, he's making a pretty good penny.
And it depends on how much cap room that the Steelers have.
Oh, they got plenty of cap room.
Maybe not.
Doesn't it increase?
Maybe not as much as you might think. The team with all the cap room, a team that's got over $100 million worth of cap room is the Cleveland Browns, but that's what 0-16 does for you.
I heard the Colts have like $85 million.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've
So
got.
if Andrew Luck comes back, they can get some good players.
And I think they've got the third pick in the draft.
Yeah, they do.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. The first pick is Cleveland, then the Giants, I believe the Colts, and then the Browns again.
Maybe. Well, I guess Eli will be back because he made that commercial. With,
there was rumblings.
Did you see that
I
commercial?
Yes,
heard that Blake
terrible.
Bortles is getting his surgery on his wrist.
Who?
Blake Bortles.
Oh, okay.
You're here.
Okay, and I
One of the greatest quarterbacks you've
I've
ever
heard
seen.
rumors that Tom Coughlin may be interested in bringing Eli down to Jacksonville because the Giants may be going after one of the top three quarterbacks, supposedly Josh Allen, the kid from Wyoming. Yeah.
Well, if Coughlin brings in Eli Manning, he's starting to suffer through old timers and.
Well, here's the thing. Blake Bortles, he has not proven that you can give him the ball in the last 2 minutes of the game and count on him to win the game for you. He's no Tom Brady, obviously, and he does make mistakes in that vein. He's a good game manager, but he's not a quarterback that you can put the game on his shoulders.
In your opinion.
No, it's just
Well,
my
Jim
opinion.
has the opposite opinion.
In your opinion.
He wrote on Facebook he's one of the greatest quarterbacks in the
He
NFL.
reminds me of Tebow. He gets the job done.
Where's Tebow now?
He got
He's going to be in the
blacklisted.
XFL, right? With old Vince McMahon.
Is he? Is he going to go there?
Who knows? He's going to be suplexing people in the 50
Well, he's baseball. He may be in the Hall of Fame. Maybe somebody will be saying what Tad Williams said about
Speaking of Hall of
Tebow.
Fame, what's your thoughts on the Hall of Fame?
Whew, that's good. I'll let Chip go first on that.
Well, here's what you did: we elected into the Hall of Fame one of the biggest malcontents in NFL history. Okay, there wasn't a single team that he played on that he didn't alienate everybody on the team, as well as his coaching staff.
But like you said, he deserves to go, though, right?
His stats.
Well, what is your criteria for getting into the Hall of Fame? Because I personally think that it has to be more than just straight statistics. Okay?
As long as Hines Ward never gets in,
You
I'm
know?
fine.
Now, then you've got Randy Moss, who could have arguably been one of the greatest receivers of all time
And he was.
when he decided to play. Okay? Because he would take plays off.
That's
When
true.
he didn't feel like it, he just didn't do it. So
true.
does that, to me, is that somebody that warrants immortality in the Hall of Fame?
You calling the brother lazy?
My humble opinion is that he disrespected the game. Okay? Terrell Owens, in my humble opinion, he disrespected every single teammate he ever had.
Would you have voted for those two to get in?
I would have made them wait.
Okay.
Not right now. I would have made them wait. The biggest uproar I heard about people being elected into the Hall of Fame was for the person that was involved in a double homicide in Atlanta.
The greatest football player of all time, in my
I don't
opinion.
know about that. You know,
In
I
my
mean,
opinion.
he.
They got a
you know,
statue of
yeah, you know,
him outside the
let me
stadium.
tell you something. Ray Lewis was a great linebacker, but they padded his stats more than anybody else. I mean, since Wendy, I mean, the guy got 25 tackles a game and he only played 18 plays. You know, so the statistician for the Ravens. The statistician for the Ravens did him more favors than anybody else. But, you know, Ray Lewis, you know, for what he did on the field, you know, now O.J. Simpson, you know, we all believe, and I'm only
did.
speaking of my opinion.
I
believe that he's a murderer, okay? But that happened long after his playing career and long after he was enshrined into the Hall of Fame, okay? So, I mean, there were more people
He's
that are
still
upset
looking
about
for
that.
the main suspect. He sees him every
no,
day
he's
in the
not.
mirror. They told him, go find that suspect.
No, he's looking for that white suit. He's looking for the white suit, and I swear he saw somebody wearing it downtown. He was after him. He was hot on his heels.
No, he's just...
But, you know, so okay, the NFL has just brought the... Now, here's the interesting thing. You've got the NFL Hall of Fame, and you've got people making all this fuss about the, you know, Terrell Owens and Randy Moss, and, you know, so they're into the Hall of Fame, okay? The people that voted have spoken. Now, I look at the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Okay? And you look at...
Let me first get my opinion on the NFL Hall of Fame before we jump to
Sure.
baseball. For Faneca, Hutchison, and Baselli, three great offensive linemen not to get in, I think, is a travesty. One. Number two, as much as I love Brian Urlacher, great player, shouldn't have been no first ballot Hall of Famer.
I agree
think
with
they wanted to get a white guy in there, and they got the wrong white guy in. Bobby Beathard, one of the most overrated general managers, couldn't win nothing after.
Do you think Robert Brazile was a worthy?
Yeah, Brazil should have been in. Brazil was a great player.
I remember
he
he played for the Oilers.
Yeah, he
back in the late '70s when the Steelers
was,
used to battle every year.
Yeah. He got hurt being a Negro. That hurt him. So he had to wait for a while. But
I think Faneca getting in was a travesty. I think
Faneca,
I think
Hutchison.
He may not have been a first ballot, but you look at his three credentials: 9 straight years.
I think he lost too much weight.
9 straight years.
They don't even see him
he was an All-Pro 9 straight years.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and he switched positions. Okay,
Did he?
Yes, he did. And remember the one season somebody got hurt, and he went from guard to tackle or tackle to guard,
guard to tackle,
and he played at an All-Pro level.
Yeah, he played at LSU with Kevin Falk. And Kevin Falk announced that he was turning pro after his junior year. And Faneca's in the back of the room with a flannel shirt on and with one of those broom straws in his mouth and says, "Me too." They're like, "Me too." What? Nobody even knew Faneca. If Falk moved him so much with his speech, Faneca said, "Me too." So they lost 2 players off that team, man.
So okay, now you look at the Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame. Okay, and I looked at the percentage of votes that players got. And obviously the two that I focused on more than any was Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds. And their numbers did not go up at all, almost at all.
They were under 57%.
They only went up 1%. So basically what they're saying is with the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, it is not just what you do on the field that makes you Hall of Fame worthy. So, I mean, it's different criteria for different sports and different people are voting. And apparently the people that have anything to do with the say-so on who gets into the Hall of Fame. And the funny thing is about Bonds and Clemens is that the people that are in the Hall of Fame are so adamantly against either one of those two being admitted into the Hall of Fame. And that says something to me.
And they weren't convicted of anything.
Well, comparing baseball Hall of Fame with football Hall of Fame is like comparing Las Vegas to Boise, Idaho. I'll take Las Vegas in the NFL any day for a vacation.
Well, you know,
Yeah,
you look at Major League Baseball, it's been
Nobody
around,
cares about
it's been around 160 years, and then football's been around, what, 80, 85?
And nobody, how many people watched the draft? How many people watched the Hall of Fame of baseball?
I'm glad you brought that up for the third year in a row. This is documented fact. I bring in the newspaper and show you. Television ratings for the Super Bowl have dropped 3 years in a row, and this year was the lowest of the three.
This year was the first year that they was able to calculate streaming on your phone and stuff like that, and it went through the roof.
No, it did
that
not.
That number went through. This is the
2
first
million.
year.
Jim,
2 million people.
Jim, obviously you don't
We're
read the
watching
same.
streaming.
You don't read the
They
same.
lost 8 million. They lost 8 million eyes, but 2 million were on streaming. So do the math. You
The
had
fact
8
of the
million
matter
more
is, Jim,
watching on TV, and now you got 2 million.
Ratings
Is it
are
still the
continuing
highest
to-
rated? Is it still the highest rated championship?
the
Answer that, please. Is it
Of
still
all
the
time?
No,
No.
no, of all the sports currently. Yes. Okay.
Okay,
The laws
I'll give
we-
you that. Well, no,
as long
not
as we get
even
that.
close. It's not even close.
Where gets more?
The World Cup. It gets billions.
Yeah,
It gets billions,
yeah, it does.
right?
That's football. That's football. Different kind of football.
There you go.
You
Yeah,
got to.
see?
Just flick through
No,
and stop.
but you know
But all
what?
I know is NBC paid $3.3 billion to show the game on Thursday night. Man, that's powerful, brother.
You
That's
know,
powerful.
That's powerful, and I am not a fan of Thursday night football.
$3.3 billion.
I'm still not going to watch Thursday night football. I just am not. I totally.
Let me
against
tell
it.
you the power of $2 billion.
Oh,
I
please.
memorized
Please
this.
do.
If I spent $100,000 a day, it would take me 170 years to spend $2 billion.
Where's a calculator? Because I'm calling. I'm calling BS on that one. Right down. Where's my abacus? Where's my abacus?
Hey, folks. We have fiction and fact, and now we got the calculator by Chip.
I learned that in my economy class.
Yeah,
Almost took
I'll tell you what. When I get at my
Micro-
Where
desk,
did you go to
I'm
then?
gonna sharpen my pencil tomorrow morning when I'm at my desk. And I'm gonna dig into these numbers.
170 years.
$100,000 a day.
Day for 170
$2 billion.
years.
$2 billion.
to
Okay.
2 billion.
All right, I got the equation.
Wow. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this. Unbelievable the facts that you can learn on
I'll
Pittsburgh
tell you.
Sportsline.
I love Jim Frazier. He's a man that I enjoy seeing every week.
We got a young man in the control room with micro and macro economics. We'll bring him out after the show to
He got a
find out.
calculator too.
You're my man,
We'll see
Jim.
what's going on after this show. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Dave Cable and the Bethel Park community for public access TV on Comcast 7 only in Bethel Park, Verizon 32 from Nemacolin to Cranberry, Wexford, and all points in between. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Chip Painter, Smoking Jim Frazier, and we want to thank you for watching and stay Joey strong.